All right, hello everyone, and welcome to today's career conversation. Today's conversation, we have two wonderful alumni who are working for Kohls. First up, we've got Martin. I put your name down. I have to pull it back up so I don't say it wrong. Sorry. Marnie, Hopcia, and Jermaine Roberson. They are both Brockport alumni and both have degrees from the business department here on campus. So we're super excited to have them here today. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into our questions. Go ahead and just tell us about yourselves, just a little something about each of you.
Am I going first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
No, Jermaine will go
first. I'll go first, Marty. Jermaine Roberson. I'm a store manager at Kohls in Henrietta. I've been with the company for 16 years. I've been in retail for 25 years. I worked at Wegmans prior to Kohls. I graduated from Brockport in December 2003. I can't believe it's been 17 years already. And I'm a father of three, and 19, 14, and 2. They keep me going, and that's me.
Thanks, Jermaine. How about you, Marnie?
Yeah, so I'm actually an assistant manager in Lancaster, out in Buffalo. I've been with the company for a little over 2 years now. I've also been in retail for about 5. I worked at TJ Maxx in Brockport for 3 years while I was in school. I graduated with a business administration degree in 2018. And yeah, I've been here ever since.
Well, great. We are certainly happy to have both of you here with us today. So my first question that I have is, how did you come to work for Kohls? Marnie, why don't you start off?
Sure. So I actually did 2 of the programs that we'll be talking about a little bit later. I did the assistant manager internship the summer going into my senior year. And then after that, I was offered to come back to Kohls for the manager and training program, which is a program for after you graduate that puts you into an assistant manager role when you complete it. So it was like a 12-week program there. And then I got placed in Batavia as a assistant manager in merchandising. And then I was there for about 9 months before I became the HR manager over in Lancaster.
Awesome. How about you, Jermaine?
Yeah, so as I said previously, I graduated in December 2003, and I had just got full-time at Wegmans, and I started hearing about Kohls was coming to town, and they were opening in October of 2004. And a good friend of mine that had graduated from Niagara, we had both graduated together. He had got an assistant manager position at Kohls when they started their early hiring. And he called me and told me that there were some opportunities for an area supervisor, which is a step below assistant manager. And I just felt that it was a good opportunity. As much as I love Wegmans, it was a good opportunity for me to grow probably a little quicker than I could working at Wegmans. So I took a chance. I started there in August of 2004, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made.
Well, awesome. Sounds like you guys have both had some great paths working at Kohls. My next question is, how did Brockport prepare you for where you are now? Whoever wants to take that one first.
Okay, I can go. Specifically, I feel like my senior year classes in general, with a lot of like the teamwork that they had us do, I think that really helped me here, because you work with a lot of different people here who have got different skill sets and everything like that. So between like the organization of those projects and the teamwork, I think that honestly helped me here a lot.
Great. Jermaine?
For me, I mean, obviously just like Marty was saying, the education part of it, everything that we learned. And again, for me, the 3rd year, my 4th year, like classes like strategic management and production and operations management. I remember specifically human resources with Dr. Waite. I don't know if she's still there, but she was awesome. And then, just the process of learning everything. Sometimes people think, well, if you take a stats class, it's like, well, how am I going to apply this to when I get into the workforce? Well, the process of going through things, maybe not doing as well, overcoming challenges and things like that. Just the process of going through learning that stuff helps you when you get into the workplace, because you're going to come up on certain challenges and things like that. And of course, doing all the presentations, I would just remember every class, it seems like we did presentations, and it really helped me once I got to Kohls to do the presentations and be comfortable doing them when I got here.
Definitely. I feel like no one thinks that those group presentations ever going to help with anything. So it's nice to know that you felt like those were useful.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. My next question is, what is your favorite part of working where you do? Jermaine, I'll let you take that one first.
Okay. My favorite part, the one thing about Kohls is really big on all people aspects. So they really feel like if they take care of the employees and have a really positive work environment, you know, that same energy is going to be filtered down to the customers. And so my you know, with that environment that we have, I love developing associates and helping them grow into you know, whatever they want to try to be. And I mean, you know, managing 150 people, that's pretty much what I do on the daily. You know, I always sit down and say, hey, you know, do you want to have a long-term career with Kohls, or do you want to have a part-time career with Kohls? Whatever the case may be, I really enjoy helping people grow and get to the next level. And, you know, while we're doing that, of course, be successful, you know, in all our business operations.
Definitely. Marnie, what about you?
Yeah, I was going to kind of piggyback off what he said. With me being newer, I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of different store managers, other assistant managers, and even supervisors who have been with the company for a lot longer than I have. You know, so I've gotten to work with everybody who's got a bunch of different skill sets, and kind of being able to learn from them and kind of taking what they know, you know, using it in a way that I'm comfortable with using it. I think that's kind of been my favorite thing, is just learning from everybody who I've worked with.
Great. All right. My next question that I have is, what is the most important thing you've learned along your career path? So I know, Marnie, you've got a much shorter career path thus far than Jermaine, but I'm sure you both have learned something important thus far. Who wants to take that one?
I'll go. I think probably the most important thing that I learned is you have to be able to adjust to whatever situations that you're going into. I've worked, you know, me being in Rochester, we've got 5 different stores. I think I've worked in every store on 2 different occasions. And every time I went to a different store, it was completely different from where I worked the last time. So I had to be a certain type of manager. And then I would get to another store and I had to be completely different. And it was difficult because you know, you're so used to doing what you're doing. But I had to be able to adjust to the environment, to the type of associate that we have. And so I just really learned through the years, and that really helped me kind of develop a skill set to be able to adjust to anyone that I work with. So I think that's probably the most important thing that I've learned.
All right. Marnie, how about you?
Yeah, actually, one of my previous store managers always told me to, whoever you work with, make sure you take something from them, whether it be something that you're going to use, you know, in your future management career, or something that you might, you know, take from them that you're like, oh, I'm not going to do that. But I think it's kind of learning from everybody else's, like, you know, what they've gone through, their mistakes, what they know, and just taking it, something from each of them and using it in your everyday, you know, career.
That's a great piece of advice. I love that. My next question is, what do you wish someone had told you before you started this career? Jermaine, what do you think?
Okay.
Or Marnie, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead, Marnie.
No,
go ahead, Marnie.
I can't see him, so it's hard. Well, I was going to say there's a lot of behind the scenes, you know, work that goes into running a successful store that you may not notice as a customer, or if you're coming from like outside of retail. Even for me coming from a different company to this one, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you need to make sure runs smoothly for your everyday business.
You know, for me, I think the biggest thing is really like utilizing your resources that you have. You know, when you get into like Marnie said, when you start working with all different types of people, and there's so many things that are going on, I kind of started to realize through the years that there's always somebody that went through what I am going through right now. There's some sort of struggle or opportunity that I'm sure somebody else went through. And I really started connecting with other store managers. I would always ask questions, or other assistant managers, and ask questions. And then it would make me feel better. I'd be like, man, they went through this too, and they could kind of guide me through the situation that I was going through. And once I started doing that, basically networking more, once I started doing that, it really helped propel me, to become a better leader.
For sure. Networking is extremely important. So that's definitely, wish someone had told me that before I got out into the real world too. All right. So my last question is, what advice do you have for current Brockport students? Marnie, go ahead.
I think honestly what I would say is that you want to make sure that you're going out and seeking opportunities to get yourself out there. It's easy to talk yourself out of going to the career fair or anything like that. I know you want to like relax and everything, but getting yourself out there, kind of learning what jobs are out there, you won't know until you try. So I would highly recommend going to every single fair that you can.
For sure. Jermaine?
Yeah, I think, we're going to talk a little bit about this in our presentation, but it was always something that I tell my son now, who's in college, is to really like self-promote yourself. I went through a long time, especially at Kohl, where I kind of was just really quiet and really reserved, but I really always wanted to do more, but I was just kind of reluctant because I was a little unsure how I was doing as a manager at the current time. But I kind of realized through the years, like, man, had I put myself out there more, I probably would have became a store manager, quicker than I did. And so I would definitely say self-promoting yourself and not being afraid is something that I would definitely offer to the Brockport students now.
Definitely great advice. And I feel like that's a perfect segue into your guys' presentation as well. So I will pass it over to you, Jermaine, if you want to go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. All right. Are we good?
Yes, I can see your screen.
All righty. Okay. So we just, today, Marnie and I are just going to go through a presentation where we're going to talk about personal branding and networking, and then we'll finish it up with just kind of telling you a little bit more about Kohls, as well as some of our opportunities. All right. Okay, so there's a quote from Christine Comerford Lynch that reads, networking is marketing, marketing yourself, marketing your uniqueness, and marketing what you stand for. A huge part of the job search and being successful once you land your job is marketing yourself. Does your employer know your career goals and your aspirations? Does your employer know your strengths and your skill set and what you bring to the table? It's a very competitive workforce out there. So you need to be able to promote your unique ideas, your talents, your strengths, and your opportunities. When an employer goes into making decisions on promotions or even lateral moves, you want them to be able to know all of your strengths and skill sets, so you're afforded the opportunities if they're there. All right. So what is your personal brand? So a personal brand is your perception or impression based on your expertise, competencies, and your achievements. So obviously right now you're a student. Okay. Are you a hard worker? Are you a strong communicator? Are you known for hitting deadlines? Do you care about your community? Whatever your attributes may be, you want them to be able to stand out. It's really about elevating your credibility and differentiating yourself from your competitor. All right, so what is a brand? So a brand is an overall experience of a customer that distinguishes an organization or product from its rivals in the eyes of a customer. So you take these brands, for example, Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks are competitors. What are they doing to stand out or differentiate themselves? Instagram and Snapchat, the same thing. How can they I'm sure they're competing with each other at all times. Kohls, we go through the same thing with Macy's and J.C. Penney's, you know. But one thing I can guarantee you that each one of these brands, on a personal, on every day, they're always trying to improve their personal branding. You know, how can they stand out to the customer and separate themselves from the competitor? Especially in a year like now with everything that's going on, you want to be able to brand yourself as best as you can. All right, so when we look at you know, someone, just an individual, you look at Jennifer Lopez. Okay, so she figured out, you know, through all of the years how to stay relevant through the changing time. She's someone that really understands the power of personal brand. She's obviously a world-renowned singer, actor, dancer, and fashion designer. Well, you know, back in the 2000s, you know, when maybe her acting career and her singing career, you know, started to kind of slow down a little bit. You know, she's on a new challenge, and she landed herself a designer gig with Kohls, and it was very successful for her. But she's someone, for example, that really understood how to adapt to change times in new roles as time went on. Okay, so we'll just talk about elevator pitch. You know, how many of you have heard of elevator speech or elevator pitch? And what that is, it's a great way to introduce yourself to employers at the career fair. You know, it's a short and concise pitch of your achievements and aspirations. It's basically like a 1 minute commercial. Okay, you're at a job fair. If it's a big crowd, sometimes you only have a very short opportunity to promote yourself. And usually within the first 7 seconds of meeting someone, you can really have a good or bad impression. So prep yourself, and you want to come across as professional, energetic, focused, somebody that really stands out in the crowd. You know, you want to be prepared with good questions. You know, one of the easiest ways to turn off a recruiter, I think, is if you ask a question that you could have looked up, you know, through the company website or whatever the case may be. Like, for example, you know, like, what do you have to offer me? You know, that's something, especially if there's internships available. Those are questions that you probably you need to know before you talk to an employer. All right. And then other things, you want to be able to discuss something you're involved with on campus that may be relatable to what's going on. So if you're in some sort of leadership role and you're talking to an employer that there could be a management or leadership opportunity, it's definitely something you want to share when you're talking about your elevator pitch. All right, and then in terms of skills and experience, you know, as you build your elevator pitch and you talk about things with employers, keep in mind that these skills and experiences are things that employers are, you know, are looking for. Okay, so can you lead a team or a group? You know, you can talk about you know, some of the courses and some of the group projects that you're taking on when you're leading a team. Planning and managing projects. You know, you're gaining experience in the classroom. You know, are you in a sorority or fraternity? You can talk about that. You know, building relationships, your professors, your classmates, student organizations. Those are all things that you can discuss when you're coming up with your elevator pitch. Analyze and evaluate data. You're going to have to analyze and evaluate data in any job that you go to. So you can definitely talk about how you do those things in your school and in your education right now. You want to engage in continuous learning. All right, be able to. You want to grow beyond your role. So always be looking to further yourself and push yourself to learn more. All right, mentor others. You know, can you teach and learn from other people? You know, if you're going to be in any sort of leadership role, you're definitely going to be mentoring people on a daily basis. So definitely something that you're learning now that you could bring to the table. All right, communicate through persuasion and justification. You know, are you an effective communicator? One of the things that one of the most underrated elements, I think, of being a leader is being an active listener. You really have to listen. A lot of times, you know, your associates, your employees, they really want to talk to you, and sometimes they just want their voice to be heard. And you got to be able to listen sometimes without maybe necessarily responding, but just, you know, just listening to let them talk. So when you go to the job fair or you go for an interview, just some suggestions we have in terms of business professional attire. You know, a two-piece suit, you know, usually black, gray, navy. You know, you want to just have a basic color dress shirt or blouse. clothes, toe shoes, low heel, matching accessories. I mean, at the end of the day, we probably want to err on the side of being more conservative, as opposed to being flashy with loud colors and things like that. I mean, of course, there's different ways that you can come in the business professional attire, but these are just some suggestions that we have. Right. And then also, we just have like an 80-20 rule. So 80% impression, 20% in your action. So just some of the small things that you want to take into consideration: the timeliness, having a strong handshake, manners, just again, be prepared with good questions, your attitude, attention span. And one of the things that's not on here, but I know I tell my staff and anybody that we interview, they have to smile. So when you're at the job fair or you're at an interview, you need to be smiling and be energetic, because we kind of have a rule: if you come to an interview and you're not smiling all the time, then that's probably an indicator of more things in the future. So definitely smile. So just to tell you a little bit about Kohls. All right, so Kohls is a department store that started in 1962. All right, the first department store opened in 1962 in Brookfield, Wisconsin. All right, then in 1992, the company went public. We opened 76 stores in the Midwest. And then in 2001, we launched Kohls.com, which gave us an online presence, which gave us the ability to expand our brand. And then in 2003, we opened 28 stores, one day in California, which gave us our West Coast presence. And then I know from when I started in 2004, probably 2015, the goal was to open, we talked about opening 100 stores every year. I think that finally slowed down in 2013, but that really, really expanded. I mean, to be opening 100 stores every year was like big time. And now we are up to 1,100 stores. And then in 2004, we launched Kohls Cash. That is a program that has driven a lot of loyalty for us. Just real simple. If for every $50 you spend, we give you a $10 in Kohls Cash, which is essentially kind of like a $10 gift card that you can use in the store. And it's really, really popular. It's one of our biggest sales drivers, still popular to this day. And then in 2014, we launched our Yes to Rewards loyalty program, which by that we were able to provide coupons, of course, through email and through our Kohls app. And with using that, we're able to kind of track what customers buy, and then we can customize coupons and sales for that customer individually. All right, just some more information about Kohls. We are a $20 billion company. We have over 140,000 associates. Really, really big into the community. Kohls does a ton of we call them Kohls Cares programs. Like we have merchandise in the store that you can buy, where all of the proceeds go to local charities. We've raised over $360 million with that program. 83% of our waste, it comes from landfills. Our goal is to be at 80, or diverts to landfills. Our goal is to be at 85%. We've given over $700 million to communities through our Associates in Action program, where we will have at least, if 5 associates from the store spends at least 3 hours at a local charity, we will provide $500 to that organization, as well as give you 15 hours of volunteer work. And every store we try to get at least one event a month. So I would say at least 12 events. There's some stores that do hundreds, but we've done juvenile diabetes, breast cancer, all different types of programs that we've done. And we've given over 300,000 volunteer hours, just for example, in 2018 alone. All right, and just where you can find us, we are located in 49 states. Only state that we don't have stores in is Hawaii. If we do get one there, I'll probably try to transfer. And then we have, again, we have stores in every state. We have our credit center, our distribution centers. We have a design office in New York, and then of course our headquarters is in Menominee Falls. We have a number of different things that goes on there. Okay, and I'll turn it over to Marnie.
Perfect. So on this slide, a little more about who we are. So Kohls has about 5 values that we strive to hit. acting with integrity. We want to build great teams, putting customers first, and then also obviously driving results. As far as culture and our people go, we've got 3 pillars of diversity and inclusion, which is 1, our people, 2, our customers, and then obviously 3, our community. Kohls pledges to create an environment where everyone feels a sense of equality, and they strive to be purposeful in attracting, growing, and engaging more diverse talent, while also giving associates equal opportunities for a career. Jermaine, you want to skip to the next one for me? So rewarding the everyday, every single day. You know, Kohls has a reputation for rewarding their customers, and they have been since they started. They're continuing this mission by creating fun and unique ways to reward customers throughout the rest of the nation, which also leads us to our purpose as a company, which is on the next slide, which is to inspire and empower families to lead fulfilled lives. That also kind of partners with our vision statement, where we not only offer the best merchandise at the best prices, but we're always working to make our shopping experience enjoyable. We want to really make sure that we set our stores apart from all the rest of the retail stores that are out there, and make customers you want to come to our stores as opposed to our competitors. So on the next slide, a little bit more about what we're doing today. Every year, Kohls launches something new. Recently, this past year or so, we launched the 9 West and Scott Living brands, just to keep the merchandise new and updated. We've got new partnerships. As I'm sure you guys have seen, we're now doing Amazon returns. And obviously, you know, we have adaptive clothing, and we always want to bring some sort of newness to our customers to keep them coming back to our stores. On the next page, it shows our 5 pillars that we strive to hit. Amazing products. We want to obviously have merchandise assortments that excite our customers and bring them back to our stores. An easy experience. We want to design technology that's easy and simple to use for the customers that are here during their visits, you know, such as our kiosks or the Kohls app. Anything that helps them, you know, help themselves while they're in the store, so we can continue to provide that great customer experience. Personalized connections. So we want to understand our customers to build genuine connections with them and relationships that will last for years to come. We have incredible savings. You know, we want to help every customer get more for their dollar. Therefore, we do have the Kohls Cash. And we have a lot of coupons going on. There's very rarely ever a time where we're not either offering a coupon or Kohls Cash. And then winning teams. We want to build teams, you know, who are engaged, talented, and results oriented, to help deliver our success. So we'll jump kind of past the next management slides into the store management internship. So this was the program that I was talking about earlier that I started my career off with Kohls. It was an 8-week summer program where you really were kind of a part of the management team. The whole part, or the whole point of this program was to see if you were a right fit for Kohls, if you really wanted to go into retail management. As far as mentorship goes, you were partnered with another ASM for guidance, for questions. I was lucky enough that my mentor advisor was actually another assistant manager who went through the program as well. So he had a lot of tips for me as far as how to handle that program, being new to the company. He had a lot of hands-on experience. Jermaine was my store manager during my internship. And we, you know, I ran the kids department for those 8 weeks. I think that our lead who ran that typically was out. So I kind of stepped up and did that. And then you do a final store walk with your district manager, just kind of, you know, talking about what you guys learned through the 8 weeks, what you're proud of, things that you want to work on. So you were exposed to senior leadership. He was in several times throughout my training. And then also I met our regional manager for the first time while I was an intern as well. So that was kind of interesting to see that from an intern perspective. And then this internship actually was paid. I know a lot of internships that were not. So that was one of the reasons that I was drawn most to it. The other reason being that I was not a sit down office type of person. I really like to be up and moving, and I like things to change kind of daily. I don't want to be doing the same thing over and over again. So that's also kind of why I was going more towards retail. But But at the end of a successfully completed internship, the next step in the process is to be offered the manager in training program, which is what I'll talk about on the next slide, for when you graduate after senior year. So this is if you successfully complete the assistant manager internship, you go back to school for that last senior year, and then when you graduate, you are put into this program that will ultimately place you as an assistant manager. So what really draws you to this program, or what drew me a lot, is that you're basically going into your senior year with a guaranteed job when you graduate. I know a lot of us don't have that, or you graduate and you spend a lot of time afterwards trying to find a job that you're qualified for. And this really helped with that. It took the stress off of that, so you could really kind of relax more over your senior year and not have to stress about where you're going to work or anything like that. But this one was a lot more in depth. It was a 12-week program where the other one was 8, and you got a lot more into like the reports. I know I had said that I worked in the kids department for the assistant manager internship. This one, I got partnered with every executive in the store. The one that I happened to be at was one of the largest stores in the district. So it was a store manager and then 3 other assistant managers. So I think I spent at least 2 weeks with each of them, just really going through like their reporting, their sales reporting, any sets that they were going on. I got in charge of doing certain sets. I know that when I had done this program, we were setting up for Christmas. So the store manager had me run, it was called the toy expansion set. So I really got hands-on with that. And then also kind of led a lot of the, group meetings, group huddles and everything. I had to motivate the teams to drive results. As far as like the assistant manager internship goes, it was more of learning, where this one was more of like physically being front and centered, hands-on doing everything. But yeah, so after this, you're placed as an assistant store manager upon completion. You're placed in a store with an opening. So obviously I was told that it's preferred that if you're able to move anywhere within the district, that would only benefit you in getting an actual placement. But yeah, it was overall a great program. If you're looking to go into retail, this definitely shows you all of the behind the scenes work, is what goes into it and everything like that. Also, kind of what Kohl stands for, and it really shows you if you are a good match with the company. And then if you want to pursue a career in retail, it's definitely a program that you will want to look into. And then last slide, Jermaine, if you don't mind, we'll just close out with a quote from our CEO, Michelle Goss. And retail changes the norm. We are an agile organization that can adjust and evolve with changing expectations of our customer, because we always have and always will put our customers first, which is one of the things that sets us aside from a lot of the other retails. We want to make sure that our customers feel welcome to come back to the store, and that we will always do whatever we can to help them and make sure that they have a enjoyable visit while they're here.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for that awesome presentation, both of you. Before I stop the recording, is there anything else either of you would like to add?
I think the only thing that I would say is if anybody is interested in the internship, feel free. I'm sure Career Services has information for you, or they've got our information to absolutely get in contact with one of us, and we can answer any questions that you guys have.
Great. Jermaine, anything else you want to add?
No, I was just going to follow it up with exactly what Marnie just said. So yeah, if you guys need anything, feel free to reach out, or if you want a part-time job, even feel free to.
Yeah, we're all hiring.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. I'm going to just stop the recording now.